You're a lifesaver. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, scanning internal external IP address won't be manual. We will use a tool called Qualys. That's what I'm going to show the tool. Okay. But before even that, I'm trying to explain what is the aim of the project. You know, one of the security project, and what are we going to do, and how are we going to do it. So before even I jump into the tool set, it's really important to understand or have a process. Okay. So for example, you want to fetch some money using your ATM. You don't really get the money. You have to go to the ATM, insert your card, type in the PIN, and then you will get the money. So all the steps are called process. Okay. So process are the series of steps that you do in order to achieve some goal. I hope that's clear, right? So we are going to first look at the process. How we are going to do that. Without a process, any tool or any project does not really exist. I mean, you have to have those series of steps. How are you going to start? How are you going to achieve the goal? That's really important. So I have laid out a base process for you all, so that everyone, before jumping to the tool, everyone should be aware of this process. This is how it's done. And then using tool, you can achieve that process. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is not real technical. It's all about like how you manage. And let me tell you, when I complete this particular like individual project, you will be able to handle the project. If you got a job, okay, you will be able to handle the project by your own self. That's my aim. It's not about just training you on the tool. It's about how you define a process, how exactly what exactly you have to do before jumping into the tool. So you can also suggest this process to any company that, okay, so you know what, we will do this in order to achieve this aim. Okay, tool is just a technology to achieve that. Ali Asgar has a question. Is this tool open source? No, it's not. It's a licensed commercial use for the corporate tools, and it's kind of expensive. So Qualys is the name. Okay, I mean, you might get a trial version with some limited capabilities, but no, it's not free. So that's that's the name of the tool. Okay. So any questions so far?
So is any other way we can practice this tool?
I'm going to share now. So eventually, what you can do is get a trial version. Go to the college website, register yourself, and get a trial version. That's how you can do it. But the demo I'm going to show, that should be clear enough, and you should at least get 70 to 80% idea how to use that tool. Okay. But yeah, for practicing, I believe you just go to the website Qualys and try to download a trial package. Okay. So let me start the process. Let me switch my. Okay. So the very first step of this process is, as I already mentioned, you have to start. The way you will find vulnerabilities is by scanning IP addresses that are assigned to the individual laptops or servers and stuff. So when you find
your screen is frozen, Nazim. I don't know if you did that.
Hello, what was that again? Sorry, who was that?
Your screen is frozen. We can't see anything.
My screen is frozen. Can you see, what exactly are you seeing right now?
It looks like it's somebody's hand on the camera, maybe. I don't know.
Somebody's hand on the camera? Oh, wait, okay. Let me try to plug in again. Okay, can you see my screen now with the green background?
I guess it's what you want to show. I don't know.
What was that?
Green background?
Yeah,
Can you?
slide.
Okay, maybe it's just me because other people are able to. So, okay, sorry. Start.
Thanks. Yeah, Eliasgar has shared a link for the policy retail. Thank you, Eliasgar. That's actually private. So, Eliasgar, if you want to share it to a public, what you can do is just go to when you're typing message, you right above it, you will see two, TO. So instead of just private me, select everyone. So you can share that. You can share the screen. Yeah, Jovine. Yeah, the noise was from Irani. Sorry about that. Okay, can everyone ping in the chat saying you can see the screen? So I have Ahmed, Jamal, and these two folks can see my screen. Anyone else who's not able to see my screen? Okay, Rehan is yes. Anyone else? If you cannot see my screen, please let me know right now so I can reshare or do something. Okay, Aliasgar is good, Rehan is good, Jamal is good, Ahmed Ali is good. Any other folks? Tovin, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So where I was, okay, so as I've already mentioned that in order to find vulnerabilities, we will have to scan the internal and external IP addresses of the respective laptop or servers or any infrastructure device, a firewall switch, okay? Everything has an IP address. Now remember one important thing, servers IP address does not change. They will be always static, okay? Only the laptop IP addresses will change using DSE protocol, okay? So whenever someone leaves the network, they will free up an IP address, and another person who's actually waiting for the IP address will get assigned, okay? So again, I repeat, server's IP address does not change. It will be static. Only laptop's IP address will change, internal IP address.
You're talking about the server IP address. That is also an internal IP address, correct?
Yes, internal. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So can you see my screen and return internal?
Yes, I see.
Okay,
that.
great. You just want to double check. So yes, I'm talking about internal IP address. Remember, external will not change. External for a whole network, external will be only one IP address representing that IC. Okay. So I'm talking about internal, and internal IP address of servers does not change. Only laptop IP address will change. Now, so you have to scan these IP addresses where you will get this information from. So for example, you join a company, okay? You go and your manager says, hey, okay, start scanning our environment, our assets, and find the vulnerabilities. What are you going to do? The very first step is you will ask, hey, can you please share all the IP addresses to me? You know, all the subnets, internal IP address subnets, all the internal where, you know, laptop servers, everything. So you will eventually get a list of IP address subnets. That's what you would require, okay? The very first step. Now, once you have those internal subnets, what you're going to do is put that internal scan into mapping. So this is one of the features of Qualys. When I will show the tool, I will show exactly what I mean. But before, you know, it's really important to understand the whole process before jumping to the tool. So when you will get all the internal subnets from the other department actually managing the whole company, like IT or hosting and storage team, they will provide you the complete IP address subnet. So what you have to do is take that, feed into Qualys, and run mapping. So what exactly mapping means? When you run these IP addresses against mapping, it will give you what all IP addresses are in use, what all IP addresses are active. Okay, that's the reason we do mapping, just to make sure that, excuse me, just to make sure that when you run mapping on internal IP addresses, you will get in returns stating which one are active, which one are not active. Now the mapping will also help when you have a scope just to scan servers. So for example, in my company, I only use Qualys to scan servers, switches, firewalls, and routers. That's it. I don't scan laptops because we have other tools to protect laptops. So according to my management, it's not really important to scan laptops for the vulnerabilities because we have other tools like endpoint protection, like antiviruses that protects our laptop. So instead of wasting licenses on laptops, we our scope, our aim is to scan only servers, firewalls, routers, and switches. So the mapping can also help you to have that visibility on, okay, what IP address, what is running on that IP address. Is it a server assigned to the IP address? Is it an endpoint? Is it a laptop assigned to IP address? I will show you the reports, but as of now, just try to understand the process, okay? So mapping this is where we use benefit out of mapping. Once you do the mapping, once you have the list of complete IP addresses after mapping, so based on the scope, you can filter down based on what you require. So what I usually do is when I put the whole subnet 255, for example, 10 dot let's say 10.340. Okay, so this has 255 IP addresses, right? 255 individual IP addresses, and I put that whole subnet into mapping, and in return I will get the list of IP address and operating system and everything. What I will do based on scope, I will filter down and select only servers. I will show you the report down the line when I do it. Okay. So that's what I will do, and based on the filtering, I will just take those set of IP addresses that are in scope, only servers, and put them into actual scanning. That's the third step. So the first step is, first of all, collect all the IP addresses from the respective team who has that information, put them into mapping, so you have clear visibility that, okay, what is running on that IP address. And now once you are sure that, okay, I'm going to scan this set of IP addresses because these are the servers, then put them into scanning. And here is where the license is consumed. So the Qualys license works in such a way that every IP address you scan, that's how it count licenses. So every unique IP address you scan will be count against license. Okay, and the IP should be active. I mean, it should be assigned to some server or some laptop or something. Okay, that's the licensing of Qualys, and there are other tools like Tenable, Nessus out in the market, but Qualys is the really famous one and kind of expensive. Okay, so that's the third step. And when you put those IPs into scanning using Qualys tool, that's where you will get the results of all the vulnerabilities that are hidden inside that particular machine that you're scanning. Okay, so scanning is a major part, is an important part of the Qualys that gives you visibility into what all vulnerabilities are sitting on that machine that you're scanning. Okay, any questions so far among the three steps? Okay, so I think no questions so far. Okay, so so after scanning, what you will do? Now you have the visibility. What you will do? You will create reporting. This is also another functionality of Qualys, reporting. I mean, your responsibility is to find vulnerabilities and create a report and share with the respective team. So it's really important to understand that cybersecurity role is to make other departments aware that this is the risk that exists on our machines. So here's the report, go fix it. You won't be fixing it. Your whole responsibility is to find what's going on in the environment, what's wrong, where exactly the loophole lies, and then you will share the report with the respective teams saying, okay, here you go, this is a report. These are the number of vulnerabilities that I found on this machine, so go fix it. The report that you will share, that out of the Qualys, it will have the solution, impact, everything. I will show you the report as we move forward, okay? So just try to remember this workflow, the complete in the process. Once it's done, I will show you the report samples. Okay. So after reporting, that's the last step. Okay. After that, there's an optional step, which is part of my company's process, is an exception. I'm just showing you right now so that you know an extra step. So the last step will be exceptions. So the reason exception exists is when you share a report, okay? When you share a report with, for example, some hosting and storage team, and you tell, hey, this server has 10 different vulnerabilities, okay? You have to fix this in order to be compliant, or in order to be in a good shape, okay? In order to avoid risk attacks. And out of the 10 vulnerabilities, so looking at those 10 vulnerabilities, if the team comes back saying, hey, I cannot fix 2 of these vulnerabilities because of this dependency, you know, I have this dependency, I cannot really fix these 2 vulnerabilities, so I can fix those 8. So for those 2 vulnerabilities, this is the form that will really help you, or you know, exception form or exception whatever format you will have in your company. Okay. So what you can do is record those 2 saying, okay, I have notified these are the vulnerabilities that exist on server, but this team is saying they cannot fix it due to this reason, and get their higher management approval. So this way you will save yourself from getting in trouble, because down the line, if the system got compromised, the very first question will be asked to security, hey, you didn't knew about this, what's going on? So at that time you can say, hey, I notified, they say they cannot fix this too because of this reason. I have this document signed. Here's the proof. Okay. So this is the complete process of the Qualys that that you have to remember. Okay. Because when you start in a company, the very first thing you will do is you will ask your colleague, if there's already this project running, you will ask your colleague, hey, can you tell me the process? How do you guys collect IPs? How do you guys run scan? How often you run scan? You know, these type of questions. That's the reason I'm showing you the process. Now before even that, any other questions so far? Okay, so there's a question by Rehan. Active IP address means being used right now. Yes. Oh, my bad. I understood the question wrong. So active IP address is, so out of this, so for example, let me show you. Let me show you in the notepad. Okay, out of this 255 IP addresses, 34.5.6 or 34.5.7. I hope everyone can see my notepad, right? I mean, what I'm typing on the notepad. Can anyone confirm if they can see my notepad? Okay, great.
Can you increase the font?
Okay. And how do I do that in Notepad? That's a good question.
Format.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm so dumb. Okay. Okay.
Perfect.
Everyone see now? Okay. So the question from Rehan is, active IP addresses means being used right now. Yes, but at the same time, it means that IP address is assigned to something, which means, yeah, it's being used. So for example, this IP address is assigned to XYZ server, okay? And this IP address is assigned to ABC server. Now, this IP address is still open. It's not assigned to anything, okay? So the license will be counted against these 2 IP addresses. If we put this IP address into scanning, Qualys will not consume license because there's nothing on this IP address. It's free. It's like just out there. That's how the licensing works. Is that clear, Rehan? Yes, those 2 are active because they are in use. Yep, they are in use, and those 2 are active. When you scan, Qualys will give you, okay, this is the operating system that is running. Yep. Any other questions? Yep, I'm good. So Jamal has a question. How do you do mapping? That's what I'm going to show. That's a part of the tool. I was just explaining the process, how the workflow is, because if you want to implement any tool, not only threat vulnerability management, any other tool, first of all, you have to have a process. What you're going to do? Like I gave an example. You want to get some money, all right? You want to first fetch some money. You cannot just have it. You first have to go to ATM, enter your card, enter the PIN, and then they will ask you a couple of questions, and then that's when finally you will get your cash, right? So all these steps that are involved in starting from your home all the way down to fetching your money, your cash, is called process. Okay, so that's what I was explaining, and now I hope everyone is familiar. Now I hope everyone understood the process. Any questions before I jump into the tool directly? Okay, I think everyone is good. Good to know that. So let me start. Mir has something called jest. Mir, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I just missed the first part. If you can just show me, you were saying something about the subnets and the IP addresses. It's just that we extract subnets, IP addresses from subnets, and then put it on mapping.
Yeah. So no. So the very first tab, just to give you a glance, you can see my screen, right? The green background screen with colorful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the very first thing what we'll do is collect. So this project, threat vulnerability management, you have to, in order to find vulnerabilities, you have to scan internal and external IP addresses. Okay. So when you join a company, right, you will have to ask, as a cybersecurity analyst, you will have to ask your team, other members, saying, "Hey, can you please provide all the IP addresses that exist on this network, okay, that exist for your company?" Once you have the information, okay, you will run mapping using Qualys, and the mapping will give you results saying, "Okay, on this IP address, this particular machine is running, like server, endpoint, or laptop." Once you have that result from mapping, based on the scope, you filter down the IP addresses. For example, in my company, the scope is only to scan servers. Okay? So what I will do, when I run this IP subnet against mapping, I will get the whole list of IP addresses along with the laptop servers and all the things categorized. Now, what I will do is, because my scope is just to scan servers, I will filter down and just select servers, so I have those number of IP addresses only. Once I have those IP addresses, I'll put them into scanning, where when the scan is completed, you will get the results of how many vulnerabilities are sitting on those servers. Okay? And once you do the scanning, finally you have to create a report using Qualys, where you can share to the other team saying, "Hey, this server belongs to you, and these are the vulnerabilities that I found on your server. Please fix it." Okay? Is that clear?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
clear.
no worries. Okay, so I guess everyone is now familiar with the whole process. I'm going to jump to the tool right now. So this is how it looks like. Okay, I hope everyone can see Qualys Enterprise screen that I'm showing right now. Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is now match the process every step with the tool. Okay, so everyone is on the same page. So as I already told you, the very first step is you will have to get IP addresses, right? Whenever you go to a company, when you join a company, you'll have to get IP addresses. And for example, I will show you the way they will give you IP addresses. It could be in any format. So for example, I got in this format, a WordPad. Okay, this is one of the company called SEP in my own company, and they gave me these are all the subnets that they own, that they're using currently. Look, right? So when I go into the company and I say, "Hey, I want to scan our company for vulnerabilities. Can you please share all the IP subnets?" And they gave me this list. Once I get this list, what I will do, the way Qualys works is, first I will go to assets. Okay. Then host assets. What I will do first, I will register all these IP addresses into Qualys. Okay, let me copy that. First, this is the very first step that should be done when you start using Qualys.
One quick question about this utility. Is it installed in your inside company, or you are going to this tool website?
Very good question. Very good question. So the way, yeah, my bad. I should have actually. I mean, what I thought was first make you understand the process, tool, and then implementation part. But because you brought the point, this is a cloud-based tool. Okay. Well, once you go to the Qualys, you will buy the subscription. Okay. They will make a separate domain and access to you for your company, where they will share your link, and then you can go and access your own Qualys. Okay, it's a cloud. It's not installed anywhere in your network. Nowadays, all the tools are following the same format. It's all the ones are cloud based. There is nothing installed in your network, except the appliances that I'm showing you right now. So take it this way: you have a bike, okay? So bike is Qualys. I mean, a motorbike with an engine, okay? So the outerior, let's take an example of car, okay? The outerior, all the car, the seats and everything, is Qualys platform, okay? Inside car, there are engines, and without engine, you cannot run car, right? So appliances are the engines of Qualys. Whenever you initiate mapping or scanning, these appliances will be used to run the mapping or scanning. Okay, so it's basically an engine of a car. And these appliances should be installed in your network on one of the servers. Is that clear? Is that confusing?
Yeah, applicant is a application installed on your network, or?
Yeah, in my network. Appliances are installed in my network. The way we do is, we can either select a physical appliance or virtual scanner appliances. What you have to do is, okay, so let me start from scratch. So you want to understand the implementation of Qualys.
Not really. No. You go through your step, then in the end we ask the question.
Exactly, because this implementation requires some infrastructure knowledge, which we can cover later on once I show the process and the tool. Okay?
Sure.
Because once we start the discussion, there will be a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's out of track then. I understand.
Yeah, so forget about the implementation part. I will show you how we implement, but first understand the process and the tool, because pretty much when you go into a company right now for working, it will be already installed or everything will be working fine. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, you just log in and it already start the scanning. Okay,
exactly. Because pretty much all the companies will have this setup. Either it's Qualys, is it Nessus, is or like any other tool. There are very few companies, like startup companies, that might require, like, whenever, like, there are very few companies where this type of project does not exist.
So it is not like a desktop utility.
No, it's not a desktop. It's a website. So you have.
The trial version is also they give us this type of link.
Yes. So like you access Facebook, this is how exactly you access Qualys.
Okay.
It's not installed on your laptop or no physical, no application. And that's how all the applications are now. All the vendors and the companies are using the same format. It does not require you to install any application like the Cisco or Internet browser, nothing as such. You just go to the website and you will have your enterprise right there.
Okay, man.
So I will explain the implementation later on. So first, let's go with the process and the tool. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. No worries. Okay. So the very first thing is, as I already mentioned, you will get a list of IP addresses like this from your other department who's maintaining all this, basically network department. You can just go and ask, hey, can you just give me all the IP addresses that we're using right now? Okay, so they will give subnets like this. You first have to take those and go to assets. Forget about rest of the options. I will show you one by one. I will show you, but I'm following the process so that you understand what's going on. Okay. Don't worry about rest of the options. So just focus on assets. So as soon as you get new IP addresses, you will go to assets and click host assets. This is kind of database of Qualys. Before running a map or scan, you first have to register those IPs into Qualys. And this is how you do it. Go to assets, go to host assets, click new IP tracked host, and then go to host IP and copy this. Once you add it, it will tell you, okay, these are all, I mean, I'm getting this warning because these all IPs are already registered in Qualys. Okay? If not, it will just tell, okay, it's registered and it's your responsibility to scan. Okay? So once you do this register this IP address under host assets, then you will be able to perform scan and mapping. Okay?
What happens if the IP address is not in the network? It gives the error, or it first scan and then let you know?
I was expecting this question. Good question. So if you don't register those IP addresses, you won't be able to scan, you won't be able to do anything. When you insert the IP address, it will tell you, hey, this IP is not registered. So let me try to create an asset group. I mean, do not focus on asset group. I will explain what it is, but I'm just showing you an example. Okay, test. And let me register like 3.5.6.6 something, okay? Save it. It will show me this IP address is not in your account. Do you get my point?
So, if you put the host and asset, the IP address that is not in your network. So what happened?
So that's your responsibility. You can insert any IP address that you want in Qualys.
Regardless of the, okay.
Yeah, so it's your responsibility to make sure you don't scan any other's network. I mean, anyhow, you won't be, because no matter if you enter any other company's internal IP address, remember, you won't be able to scan because of firewall.
Okay, yeah.
They're using, right?
Yep.
You understood the concept?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
host asset, you put all the possible of your network, your own network.
Exactly. If at all you insert any other company's internal IP address, even though you try to scan, nothing will come up, because the firewall that is working in the firewall that is protecting that organization will not let you scan. Okay, I think we have some questions. Okay, sorry. I think I missed many questions. Rehan has a question. Does a cybersecurity analyst do that? What exactly cybersecurity does that? I mean, sorry, I didn't got your question, Rehan. I mean, you mean inserting the IP address and all this stuff? Implementation, yes, if needed. So Rehan question is will the implementation of Qualys be done by cybersecurity? Yes. If the company is not using any tool, and if they hire you, considering you're the SME of Qualys, SME means subject matter expert, and if you hired as that position, and if they don't have Qualys or any other tool, you will have to implement it. And don't worry about it. It's not only you. When you sign a subscription or contract with a vendor, then you can ask their help to implement all this stuff for you, like help you to implement this stuff. They will do it. Don't worry about it. You're not on your own. Whenever you deal with these vendors, whenever you buy a product from outside market, you can always get in touch with them, their support, and tell them, hey, I need some help. Make me understand how to implement this. They will give you step-by-step procedure or documentation that you can use and implement these tools. Okay, so you're not on your not alone. Okay, great. So where's Ahmed? Can you repeat that again? What can I repeat, Ahmed Ali? Sorry. Appliance. So appliance will. I apologize, but we'll get that appliance thing in the end, because that's implementation strategy. I don't really want you to confuse between the process and what we do and implementation part. Okay. So I will take that down later on. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, Bert, again, question from Rehan. Can we scan their external IP addresses? Yes. So for internal, we can, as we scan internal, we can scan external. External, I will share. First, let's cover internal, then I will jump on external, because yesterday when I explained internal and external both, I mean everyone got confused, so I don't really want to mix it. Okay. So external, yes, we can. To answer your question, yes, we can scan anyone's external IP addresses because it's out there, visible to everyone. So that's the reason we can scan. Okay. So as of now, let's focus on internal. Any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Okay. So coming back to the topic, whenever you, so yeah, you first have to register the IP address into host assets, and that's how Qualys will know, okay, this is registered and I can scan these IP addresses. Right. So now you're registered. Okay. Let's go to mapping directly. So you got the IP addresses. Okay. You registered the IP addresses into host assets in Qualys. Okay. Now all the IP addresses that you have are registered. Perfect. Now the next step is mapping, right? So the mapping is right under scans. Okay. And you see the map right here. That's the mapping. The way you will do is you will create a new map. You can either run a map right away or you can schedule a map. So you will click map. Okay. Give it a name. Give it a name, test_1 ASM. Okay, that's my name. Then what you will do, you will select an options profile. What exactly is this options profile? This defines, excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. So the second option right away in the map, what you have to do is, let me tell you, the process is different. Now I'm trying to make you understand how the tool works in order to run the map. Okay, do not get confused. So when you click on mapping, map and new, this is what you will see. You have to give a name like test. Okay, and then the second option it will ask is options profile. What exactly is that? It's a configuration profile that you want to run on those IP addresses. Okay. There will be few options profiles right away, like initial options. This is by default provided by Qualys. Okay. For mapping, you can just select initial profile. If you go to a company, if they have a tool Qualys and you want to run a company, you will have this options profile by default. So for mapping, you can just go and select initial profile because you just have to run map. You're not doing actual scanning. Okay. So the second option will be options profile, where you will tell Rizwan Muhammad. Okay, wait. Let me check. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I thought someone left, so just wanted to make sure. Okay, options profile. Yeah, it's a configuration file. It's a configuration that you want to run on those IPs. I will show you where it's configured. Okay, but as of now, just understand map. What all things are required to run a map. So options profile is the one, and the third one is scanner appliance. So remember, I just told you the appliances that are installed on Qualys are the engines that you will use to run scans and mapping. So in a car, if you don't have an engine to run, car is just sitting out there doing nothing. Similarly, if you want to run a scan on any IP address, okay, you will need some engine to run it. So this is what you will use scanner appliances for. Okay. The installation part I will explain you later, as I've mentioned, just not to confuse. But as of now, just remember, for map, you will have to select options profile and the engine and the appliance that you want to use to run the map. Okay. Now after that, what you have to do is select asset group. I mean, what all IPs you want to run mapping on. So the asset groups can be created under assets. I will show you right away. Okay, so asset groups. This is where you will select the asset group. For example, I have this asset group. Okay, where it has like many IP addresses, and then launch. So let's directly go to asset group. I wanted to show you the layout of mapping, what all things are required to run a map. Now we will go to individual options that are required to run a map. Okay. First of all, options profile. Let's take it. So in under scans, you will have options profile. Okay. And remember, I showed you initial options. I'm going to show you what all configured under initials profile. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast, confusing? Let me know. Let me check if there are any questions or something. Yeah. Okay. Anyone any other questions? Okay. So what I just showed you is the layout of all the options that are required to run a map. Okay. Title, options profile, appliances, asset group. 3 main things to run a map. Now let's go to options profile. So the way you go to options profile is under scans, you go to options profile, and this is where you will create options profile, basically the configurations, what you want to run. So let me show you the initial options that is already configured. If I go to edit, basically what happens is options profile consists of few checkpoints. Okay. The way Qualys works is when it scans the IP address, it scans the TCP ports and UDP ports. Now, you might have a question, what are TCP ports, right? Let me open a notepad. Every system, every server has ports, like 80, 443, 445, 45, 22, 23, 139, 137, a lot of almost 65,000 some plus ports are available, TCP ports. Okay, every port has its own functionality. So for example, 80 is used for HTTP, for Hypertext Control Protocol. You see this protocol on website right here. You see it? So it has HTTPS. HTTPS is 443. Okay, so every application, every system has ports. There's a big topic under ports. That's also a networking concept. You can always Google what are ports used for, and you can learn some basic ports like 80, 443, 445, 22, 23. These are like all basic ports. Okay, so what Qualys does is run a scan or map on TCP ports, all the TCP ports. This is where you configure all the ports. You don't have to write it manually. It's already in there. It's already in there in options profile, where you just have to select. You want to scan all TCP ports, which are like 65,000 something. Do you want to scan standard ports? And the standard ports are like 1900 according to Qualys. Let's see the list. These are the standard ports according to Qualys. Okay. And if you want to do light scan, just scan 160 top priority TCP ports. Let's see what are those. 11, 13. So in order to understand these ports, you can always Google. You can type 135, and Google will tell you, of course, like what that port used for. Okay. The reason there are like multiple options, not just one option, is if you configure your scan or map on scanning full TCP ports, that means Qualys will generate a lot of traffic to that system. So what I mean by that is you're scanning an IP address. Basically, you're scanning a server, for example. Okay. So when you start a scan, Qualys will send some traffic to that scan. Okay. Network traffic to the scan. Qualys will send some traffic to the server, and it will try to ping all the ports, try to reach out to all the ports that are open on that server. And if you say full, there'll be a lot of traffic. Maybe your server might be weak. It might not take that heavy traffic, and maybe it will stop. So what happens when a server stops? Of course, you'll be fired. Simple. You'll be like, hey, you don't know what you're doing. So These options are based on, you have to make a decision based on, is it a good standing server, like is it a 2003 server, which is like end of life? I mean, these are the things. These are a few things that you will learn when you go on site to a company. But just remember, if anyone complains, if you have an options profile scan full, if anyone comes back complain, hey, my server is slow, can you check what's wrong? So can you? Then the guy will tell, oh, the last event I saw was scanning some Qualys appliance was scanning my server. That's where you have to think, oh, I might be generating a lot of traffic due to which server got slow. Okay, so then you can reduce down the ports that you're scanning. So this way you will send less traffic, and server might be able to handle that. Now you might have a question. Okay, what's the difference between a full standard light? Are we missing anything? No. I mean, probably yes, but standard scan and light scan that are designed by Qualys covers most top ports of the industry. So you don't have to worry, okay? You can just either select standard or light. The UDP, same thing, full standard light. There are like tons of UDP ports. Now, one of the major differences that I would like to tell you is between TCP and UDP. This is off topic. I just wanted to tell you. TCP, what's the difference between TCP and UDP, Transfer Connect Protocol, and user datagram protocol? TCP is a connection where it makes sure that the traffic went to the destination is confirmed, okay? And UDP is something where it will send traffic but does not confirm whether the traffic reached out to the destination or not. So for example, if I send you something, okay? So if I'm couriering a package to my friend who is in Texas, what I will do, if I want to make sure that I have to know that whether he got the package or no, I will ask the courier guy, hey, can you put a tracking on my package? Okay, so he will charge you extra, and it will give you a tracking number. Then I can use the tracking number to track whether it got delivered or not. That's exactly TCP is doing. I mean, in the interview questions, you might get, hey, can you tell me the difference between TCP protocol and UDP protocol? You know, that's a basic question in an interview, like in networking and cybersecurity. So you can say, yeah, TCP protocol just make sure that the packets that are transferred to destination are not failed. If the package, if the traffic does not reach to destination, it will reattempt to do that. But it will not let any package lose, okay? Now UDP is usually used for speed connection, like a video streaming, okay? It does not require any confirmation. It does not take any confirmation back. It just sends packet in to have that heavy workflow. This is off topic. Do not get confused between Qualys. I just wanted to share that knowledge with you. Maybe anyone might get an interview question. Okay. So there are other options that are not really important. That's a good news for you. I mean, you'll be like, phew, okay, I don't really have to consider it, but not as of now. Maybe down the line, yes, maybe. But these are the two important things that you have to remember, okay? And rest, or you can leave it as it is, like map and the same thing. Yep. So that's how you configure your options profile, okay? I hope now it makes sense why mapping as options profile, because you have to mention what is the scope, what you want to scan. I guess someone is off mute. Any questions? Rizwan, do you have any questions? Okay, I'm going to mute right now. Okay, so far, any questions? I know we're about time to 9 p.m. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. I think I missed a few questions. So in short, definition Qualys is to check threat vulnerabilities. Yes. So Tovian has a question. So in a short definition, Qualys is to check threat vulnerability. Yeah. So Qualys is a tool which can help you to find vulnerabilities on the assets, on servers and endpoints. So yes. Is that clear, Toyin? Okay. So another question. Rehan has a question for how much time? My bad. Sorry. What exactly you want to ask? I mean, I was explaining, so sorry about that. I missed your question. the server slowed down. For how much time? I mean, so good question. So till the scan is active, the server will slow down if it cannot handle the traffic, or it might end up, stop. It might end up just stopping. That's it right away. And the results, kicked out of the company. Simple. Because servers are the business. I mean, they get the business. I will explain you the word server, right? Okay. I will explain the word the server. We can. So Rehan has a question. We can never run a full port scan. We can, but depends on the server. Depends on the nature of the server, like whether it can handle that amount of traffic or not. Because I mean, usually, so for external, yeah. So yep, that's the one. And Ahmed Ali has a question. Are there any pros and cons with those options, full standard light? So I think I explained the whole reasoning behind why we're gonna use full standard light. Pros pros will be like if you use full scan, you will have better visibility. You will scan all the ports, so there's no chance you won't miss any vulnerability because Qualys scans its ports, identify the service and operating system that are running on the system, and find the vulnerabilities based on this port. So that's the whole logic behind what Qualys is doing, the ports. Is that clear, Ahmad Ali? Okay. So Alias has a question. Can I run my home Wi-Fi network laptop phone connected? Yes. If you have Qualys, okay, if you have whitelisted Qualys IP address into your network, in your home network, then you can scan your own laptop IP address and you can find your own vulnerabilities sitting on your laptop, like missing patches, missing Microsoft updates, and all this stuff.
So I have a question too.
Okay.
So we are doing mapping. So basically, we are doing is mapping the IP address with the configuration, like by selecting the profile and the IPs which we provided in the host, right? That's what we're doing in the mapping, right? That process is called mapping, right?
So we are not mapping IP address to the machine.
Doing the engines, right? We are not doing that.
No, so basically we are running map or scan on those IPs using this options profile in order to get information that okay, what's running on that IP address, like what operating system, is it laptop, is it a server?
Oh, okay.
We are not using those IP address to the operating system or laptop or server. So we are just using mapping to identify, using the configuration profile that I just showed you, to identify what's running on those IP addresses.
Oh, okay, that's just figuring out. But it's not like like for example, you're not setting any standards. So like you have to configure like configurations, matching the configurations. Like you have to scan like for example, if there is something like the configuration thing. Like I was confused with the configuration thing. So like
there are standards. To your point, there are a few configuration profiles that are standard. That's what out of the box, when you get a Qualys brand new, okay, they will give you 3 to 4 optional profiles by default. Like
okay.
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 So what you have to do is, based on your team discussion, based on what you want to scan, you have to narrow down or select the options. But there's no standard. There's no typical industry standard that okay, you have to follow this. This configuration profile solely based on how your company wants to run a scan.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that's clear your question.
And the server thing. So you can like for example, if you're running a full scan, then you have to make sure that like that server is capable of doing it, and if it's capable of doing it and nobody is working on it, then we can do the full scan. Like if our company tells us to do it, right?
Absolutely. You actually made a great point. So when no one is using the server, that's also another important thing. So if you want to whenever you want to run a scan or mapping, okay, remember, only do it during off hours. Like for example, in US hours, I would run a scan 8 p.m. because there's very light chances that anyone might be using the server. Make sense? So this way, server will not have it will not have a huge traffic because no one, maybe like 80% of the users that used to use the server is not using due to the off hours. The working time hours 9 to 5, of course, and in nighttime there is very less traffic. So make sure you schedule your mapping and scanning during off hours of your company. Before even your scan or mapping, you first have to get approval from the team from the team that is the owner of the server. That, okay, listen, I'm going to run a scan on your server. Can you tell me what's the best time to run the scan? So they will tell you, hey, you know what? Run in the midnight. Run around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the night or in the morning. So this is the suggestion you will get from them. Okay?
Yeah, and you can schedule the scan, right?
Absolutely, you can.
Right. Got it.
So let me show you. Oh, I think I'm back. Okay, so I was in the map, and when you click go to map and new, this you see the options, schedule map. This is what you can use to schedule your map. And let me show you how it looks like. So same thing. Before even jumping schedule, I will just let me finish the mapping. If you want to run a map right away. Before even that, I know we are over 7 minutes. I can still continue for more 30 minutes. Is anyone okay, or do you want me to continue tomorrow? Anyways, thank you, Rehan, for reminding a battery. I plugged in my charger. Thank you. Okay, so Ali Asghar has a question. Some of the antivirus software also same capability? No. Antivirus is completely different from this because antivirus will stop active malware or virus that is attacking your system. This project is to find the loopholes that stick with your operating system. Okay? Antivirus is different. Qualys vulnerability management is different. Okay? Antivirus will stop the active malware or virus running on your system.
No, I'm saying that like open it scan all the open ports, like if ports are open, is unused and open, is also tell you about is any software vulnerability. I mean the patches is missing.
Absolutely, it will. So the main purpose of the Qualys is to find missing patches, missing hidden loops. So what are patches? Patches are derived by vulnerability. If there is a vulnerability out there in the market, for example, Microsoft, okay? If they know there is a vulnerability out there, like in their software, what they will do, they will create a patch to fix that vulnerability. And they will say, okay, apply this patch on your system and you will close that vulnerability. That's the background around patching.
So it also scan all the software installed on a server. Just Adobe is not updated the latest version,
Yes,
and the last
absolutely
version
right. Adobe Reader, Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, all this stuff.
And you have a 2.3 and 2.5. 2.3 has some patches. Okay.
Absolutely right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. It will tell you everything that's related to the operating system. Like Adobe Reader is not patched, not running latest version. Internet Explorer is not running latest version. All the stuff. That's what all you want to make your laptop secure. Qualys will provide you that report.
Some antivirus has some things showing like some port, or not in detail, but is some loophole.
Sorry, what was that again? My bad.
Some loopholes. Some antivirus also show other than the virus and worm. There's some I see something not in detail, but
depends on the antivirus that you're using, because nowadays antivirus are just not traditional antiviruses.
Yeah.
They are now well developed, and I have one of the antivirus that I use as part of our training, so that'll be really exciting to choose.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So good questions, by the way. Okay, battery low. Thank you. But okay, Rosina has a question. But during the off hours, the traffic is low, so the active IP addresses are less. Does it really serve the purpose of finding loopholes? Now, great question. During off hours, remember, that's the reason we have scope. we know laptop IP address changes. Okay, so laptops are different from servers. You can scan laptops anytime because it will not be utilized a lot, because server will be utilized by thousands of people at the same time. And remember, server IP address does not change. So yes, you can. I mean, when you run a scan on the IP address, so on the servers, you'll still get a lot of. You'll get the same vulnerability report if you even scan in off hours. Does it answer your question, Rosina? Great. Rehan Khan has a question. So does not updating a software like Adobe create a loophole for a hacker? Yes, it does. Because, for example, so Rehan has a question. So does not updating a software like Adobe Reader create a loophole for a hacker? Definitely it will, because Adobe Reader, once you install, hackers can utilize old version of Acrobat Reader because of some remote code executable vulnerability and can get it to your system. So that's possible, yes. Toveen has a question. Why does laptop IP addresses change? So that's the same concept. I mean, that's a concept I explained yesterday. Remember, internal IP addresses. So a DHCP is a protocol where whenever like laptops connect and go. So they are dynamic. So the IP address should be dynamic in nature. So for example, let's take this example, Toveen. To your question, if I have 200 IP addresses, okay, right? And if I assign 200 static IP addresses, like if I fix those IP addresses, saying, okay, this IP address should go to laptop A, this IP address should go to laptop B. If I fix it like servers, now I have only 200. If there are more people coming in my network, they won't get IP address, and indeed they will not have an internet connection. So in order to be smart, in order to maintain the network, the IP address allocation for laptops are always dynamic. So whenever a laptop comes, they will get IP address, and when they leaves the network, the IP address gets free, and then it will be assigned to some other laptop. Does it make sense, Toveen? Toveen, is that clear? So, okay, so Toveen and Rosina has a question, like the same question, why does laptop IP address change? So take it this way. I mean, you have some limited IP addresses. Let me write it down, okay? So that might be easy. I hope everyone can see my notepad, right? I wish I'm actually trying to use my tablet where I can draw and show. Anyway, I will start using tomorrow. Anyways, okay, so the question here is, why does laptop IP address changes? That's part of the network protocols, okay? But the main reason is, for example, we have 200 unique IP addresses, okay? And if you have like, okay, let me do it this way. Okay, so let's say I have these many IP addresses. Okay, I hope everyone can see my Excel sheet, right? Okay, right. So for example, let's take A, B, C, D, and whatever that is. And now it will not work. Let's take the numbers. What the hell? Okay, so let's say you have these many systems that are assigned to individual IP addresses, okay? Good suggestion. Highlight 1, 2, 3 box and drag. Thank you, Rosina, by the way. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, the question is, why does laptop IP address changes, okay? So, for example, I have these many IP addresses in my network, okay? If I keep the laptop IP addresses as static, okay? I just assign these IP addresses to laptop A, laptop B, If I don't have the dynamic changing, dynamic assignment of IP addresses, I will be wasting my IP addresses, okay? Because if there is a new laptop which is called ACB, he will not have IP addresses. Then again, I have to buy a new one, like 10.3.5. Eventually, I have to buy more because I don't want to do it. In order to save the IP address costing, because may laptops come and go, and the number of users will be so many. So, for example, in my company, there are 25,000 users. So imagine if they buy 25,000 users license, they'll be costing more money, and it will be really hard to manage. So what they do is they use DHCP protocol that does dynamic allocation of IP addresses. So for example, if A leaves the network, this IP address gets free, and the ACB laptop that is waiting will get this IP address. Okay, so this way they make this IP address floating and will assign the IP addresses dynamically. Does it make sense? Because it's pure, what you're asking is purely networking question, and you will have to dig in more like DHCP protocols and all the other stuff. But does it make sense what I just explained? Rosina and Toyin? Okay, Rosina, what about you? For laptops, yes, but for servers, they'll be static. Okay. Yep. Okay. So I know I'm above like 18 minutes. Do you still guys want to continue, or do you want me to continue tomorrow? I think. Okay. So Word, whatever works for you. Okay, tomorrow. Because a lot of things to digest. Let's continue tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I mean. Let's work. Do you want to still continue and let me complete the mapping again? Mapping and scanning. Yes, it might. They're pretty much, if you understand mapping. Okay, so of course, there's a lot, but if you understand mapping, scanning is pretty much same. No major difference. So I think we can continue tomorrow. It's okay because I have to be really respectable for other times as well. Okay, so what I will do, I'll continue tomorrow at the same time, like discussed already. Tomorrow is Thursday. Oh, I think I have to shift the timings. Tomorrow I cannot do the class, just FYI. I mean, for your information. Can we do on Friday? What will be the best time? I know, there was no class scheduled for Friday. It's just Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 CST. But because I'm out tomorrow, will Friday work for everyone? Let's work. And what time?
Let's talk on WhatsApp, Azam, if that's okay.
Okay, is everyone on WhatsApp on the group?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So okay, we can catch on the WhatsApp. But yeah, just to let you know, tomorrow there's no class. My apologies. I really have to take care of some personal stuff. We will continue the class on Friday. Okay, and trust me, it will be more interesting. Once you cover the process and the tools, you will jump on the reporting and try to understand the vulnerabilities. Okay, there's a lot of things. Trust me, Qualys itself is a full-time job. Okay, there are jobs out there which ask the requirement will be threat vulnerability management officer. So the reason I'm explaining you from scratch, the network, the process, the tool, the reporting, as soon as you step in a company, trust me, you will be right away able to pick everything right away. It's not that you'll be just hanging with the tool. You can even tell, okay, so if you go to a company and they have already a process. Now, what I'm going to explain, this process, the whole process, you can in fact tell them, hey, I mean, can we implement your process this way? Can we run the tool and the process this way? So it will be more beneficial. So I'm focusing from that standpoint and trying to make you SME of Qualys, subject matter expert. Okay, so as soon as you join a company, you should be able to take care of all the platform by your own. Okay. So, well, it was great talking to you guys again, and we'll continue on Friday on WhatsApp. We'll make sure we'll set the times. Okay. Thank you for joining the call. Before we end up, any questions, any suggestions? Great. Thank you, Rehan. Same to you. Thanks. Oh, so we have Rizwan Muhammad Abdul. Actually, it's my first class. Oh, okay, Rizwan. We can catch up later on for sure. I mean, you're on the WhatsApp, right? We'll catch up. Thank you, Taween, sorry. Thank you, everyone. I hope this really helps. And as we move forward, I will try to, solve as many questions I can, okay? Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good night. Irani, please add Rizwan into the WhatsApp chat, okay? If that's possible.